What's going on, guys? Welcome to today's second stimulus check update. In this update, we have really good news, because not only is this a second stimulus check update, there's a possibility for a third, yes, a third stimulus check. So we are going to address the proposal that was released today by the Problem Solvers Caucus. This is an incredible proposal. It fits for both Democrats and for Republicans. I think this should pass. However, there has been some talks, there has been rumors, so I want to address what's in this proposal so that you can see it. We're going to dive in right to the Problem Solvers Caucus website so you can see exactly what's in it, the amounts, and how much you could potentially get. All right, so here we go. This is right from the Problem Solvers Caucus website, and I'm gonna read it to you. We're gonna go through it line by line. So first off, you can see March to Common Ground, Bipartisan COVID Relief Framework. Says the overview, this has taken about 6 weeks. They spent listening to their constituents throughout the country. It's a mix of 25 House Democrats, 25 House Republicans, and it is endorsed by over 75% of the Problem Solvers Caucus membership. Now, here we go. There's $100 billion for testing and tracing. Here's what I really like about the way they laid this all out. They addressed the problem right here. They first address the problem and then provide a solution. Well, here's the problem, here's the solution. Solution is $25 billion for testing and contact tracing, $30 billion for healthcare provider support, and $45 billion for forgiveness of Medicare loans, right? It's pretty big. Next, we have support for individuals and families. This is the second stimulus check. It's $316 billion. It's a 15% WIC plus up through March 2021. Okay, that's $1 billion for that. There's 15% SNAP plus up through July 2021. So if you get WIC or you get SNAP benefits, you will have a 15% bonus on top of your current benefits. There's a $1,200 stimulus check for filers and their spouse, $500 per child plus dependent adults. Here's the cool thing, retroactive. Most likely what this means is for all dependent adults who did not get a stimulus check the first time, you will get a retroactive check, a retroactive stimulus check if this does pass. So this is incredible, okay? This is just one stimulus check. And no, this retroactive check is not what I'm referring to when I said there could be a second and possibly third stimulus check. Also, there's rental assistance for the most needy and other rent stabilization programs. And this will be for $25 billion. That should be good. And then also extend the eviction moratorium one additional month through January 2021 as opposed to December 2020. Student loan forbearance through December 31st, 2020. You can see it right there. Next thing, we've got unemployment assistance, $120 billion. Okay, it talks about the problem. We know the problem. What's the solution? Well, the solution is $450 a week for 8 weeks. This is a transition period, followed by up to $600 per week. This will not exceed 100% of previous wage. That's key. Also, 13 weeks from mid-October 2020 through January 2021. That's pretty important, the timeline, all right? So again, if you're on unemployment, this could be a big boost for you. $450 a week for 8 weeks, followed up by up to $600 a week, except not to exceed your 100% wage. Now, small business and nonprofits. I want to address one more thing. This right here, in the beginning of this video, I talked about how there were some talks, there were some rumors. Well, there are some House Democrats that did not put together this proposal that are against these numbers right here. This number right here, okay, $450 a week and 8 weeks. They're against that because they want this, okay? So they are willing to let this bill go and not pass because they want to address that $150 per week gap. So that is one of the issues. Now, small businesses and nonprofits, there's $290 billion. This includes $240 billion for PPP funding, a second loan, okay, full transparency, simplified forgiveness. This was big, okay. That's $145 billion remaining from the PPP program to be reappropriated, okay. So they're going to repurpose that money, and then that's $95 billion in new money. You can see where it's coming from. $50 billion for targeted employee retention tax credit, okay, and then rectify the Main Street lending program. There's a lot of issues there. I doubt they're going to rectify it. I doubt many people are going to take them up on that offer. Schools and childcare. This morning I said, or actually this afternoon I said, this was $130 billion. That is what the New York Times was estimating. It's actually $145 billion. It's up $40 billion from what they've already agreed to, which is $105. You can see the problem. There needs to be more stuff. There needs to be more protection for schools. There needs to be more funding. $15 billion for child care providers, flexible and immediate. $100 billion for K through 12 schools for virtual, hybrid, and or in-person learning. This is huge right here, because if you remember, the $105 billion before was only you only got 1/3 of that money, that fund, until you became an in-person learning school. Then you would receive the other 2/3 of the funding, and also $30 billion for higher education institutions. Here's a huge one. However, this is also where there's already been some pushback by Democrats. $500.3 billion. That's huge. That's almost to their $900 billion mark that they wanted. It's obviously telling the problem. What's the problem? They're losing costs by loss of taxes and fee revenue, which is huge. States are losing a lot of money. Now, this is allowing $130 billion remaining from the CARES Act for flexible use on documented past state and local COVID expenses. $130 billion in new money for documented future local COVID expenses. $120.3 billion in new money for documented local general revenue shortfalls through 2021. $250 billion in new money for documented state general revenue shortfalls through 2021, and tribal territorial governments allocation. Now, what I want to address here is some Democrats are against this proposal because it does not meet the needs of the American people. And they specifically state this $500 billion for state and local governments will not do what it's intended to do. There will not be enough funds. I personally believe $500 billion should be enough to give state and local governments all their funding. You see right here, revenue shortfalls. This is local, this is state. Future expenses, $130 billion. That should be more than enough, but we'll see what happens. Election aid, $400 million. That's $400 million to states for incremental election costs. This includes temporary staffing, polling location, PPE, communication to voters, and how and when to vote, right? All that great stuff. Just safety precautions. We got broadband, agriculture, United States Postal Service, and census. $52 billion for that. $12 billion for broadband hotspots in underserved communities. $25 billion for agriculture and aquaculture producers and processors. $15 billion for the United States Postal Service. I was pretty sure it was going to be anywhere from 10 to 20 billion. It comes right in the middle. Modified statutes to allow extension of census and ensure an accurate count. Here's a big one. This is worker and liability protections. This one is different because Republicans, they wanted just liability protections to the businesses. However, this is for workers right here. And the way that they solve this is enhanced protections for entities which follow enhanced OSHA guidelines. So, extreme or robust enforcement of worker safety. This is really important. Doesn't say how much money is going to go here for maybe training and stuff like that, but that is what is there. There should be money for training, because if you have enforcement of worker safety, there need to be additional training. Here's a big one. These are the automatic boosters, and this is what I was talking about. These are boosters based on COVID hospitalization metrics and vaccine progress. It's plus 400 billion. This is how it would work. Okay, let me show you the chart right down here. Okay, so you can see that. So you can see right here, this is the way it would work. Currently, this proposal is for $1.5 to $3.7 trillion. I put too many points, but you get the idea, you get the point. Okay, so $1.5 trillion is what the new money is coming into this proposal. It's taking $130 billion from the CARES Act money, and that's what it's going to do. It's a roughly $1.65 trillion package. So still a really good package. And now, okay, 1.65 trillion. If the economy does better than is expected, it will be reduced by 200 billion. If it does worse than is expected and there's more hospitalizations, there will be an additional 400 billion added on to that. Here's how it works. An automatic 3-month unemployment enhancement in February 2021. Okay, so they already want to push it through to January 2021. If warranted, this would mean that is where they'd get additional 3 months of enhancement. We do not know if that 3 months would be at $600 or $450 per week. That's not what we know yet, but we could probably figure that out very quickly. Based on metrics, this would be 120 billion. Also, an automatic stimulus check in March 2021. Again, based on metrics. This is not the second, this is the third possible stimulus check that we could get. And this is what Democrats were asking is, if we were to accept a proposal, would there be a possibility that we can come back to the table come January and renegotiate, get more stimulus, more funding for not only our states and our local governments, but for everybody, the American people. Here is a big boost, right? This is huge, absolutely huge. And what I like about this, okay, about this whole thing right here, is that they're taking into consideration what if things get worse. I personally believe things are not going to get better as quickly as people predict. However, do they get worse? I don't know. But should there be some type of booster or reducer in there to kind of go in line with how the economy is doing? Yes, there should be. Hopefully Republicans look at this and be like, that's a good idea. I like that. Hopefully they vote for this. These are the reducers. Okay, this would reduce it by roughly $200 billion. That means there'd be less, they take out $60 billion to the PPP program because the economy is doing better. They'd also take out $130 billion to state and local governments. This right here is probably going to be a non-starter for Democrats. Just want to say that this is a really good proposal. I really like this. However, there are some things in this proposal that Republicans are going to look at and be like, no, we can't get behind that. And there are going to be some things that already have been said where Democrats are like, no, I can't get behind that. This right here has not been said, but to me, I would assume that Democrats are going to say minus 130 billion if things go a little bit better than planned. No, that's a non-starter. Rental assistance, again, minus 10 billion. They're starting at 25 billion. Here's what I don't completely understand. We're already at 21 billion behind in rental assistance. And so if things go better and they take away 10 billion, that puts us at 15 billion. The problem is there's already going to be a gap of $6 billion in unpaid rents. So I'm not really sure how this would work unless they're taking this money out of something else. But again, it doesn't say. We're still looking for more information here, but this is key, okay? New money and the boosters. These are key. This right here, this is what you need to be looking at, okay? Because this is going to be a big thing. If this passes, I know people do not want the economy to get worse. However, if it does, there is going to be a rider already in here that allows for stimulus checks come March 2021. So keep an eye on that because this could be huge. Now, I know I already addressed a lot of this stuff. However, I do want to get into a few more things. What people are saying as of today, as of the afternoon, Tuesday, September 15th, 8 House Democrat committee chairs released a statement Tuesday rejecting the proposal, saying it falls short of what is needed to save lives and boost the economy. Okay. Another person says, when it comes to bolstering the public health system, supporting state and local governments, and assisting struggling families, the problem solver's proposal leaves too many needs unmet. With the general election just 49 days away and the Postal Service sabotaged by the Trump administration, their proposal also abandons our responsibility to protect the life of our democracy. Okay. Now, there's a lot of people pointing at the problem solver's proposal saying it either doesn't do this or it doesn't do that. But here's what it does do. It does provide stimulus to struggling businesses, to struggling families. It provides rental assistance. It provides food assistance. It provides assistance. Currently, Congress is not providing anything. So, what I can say right now is people are very frustrated with Congress. Nancy Pelosi is doing absolutely nothing. Mitch McConnell is doing, I think, even less than nothing. Steve Mnuchin is urging Congress to get together. He's urging Nancy Pelosi to contact him. Let's negotiate. President Trump, he obviously is running his re-election campaign. He's trying to get re-elected, but he's not doing anything as far as adding more stimulus yet. If this does not go through, hopefully it does. I think this would be incredible for the American people. If this does not go through, what I think is going to happen is you will see President Trump do all that he can within his legal rights to try to get an additional round of executive orders through. And this will most likely happen in October. If this proposal were to pass, were to even be considered, which we don't know yet, we should know tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon. Hopefully the House has had enough time to look this over and really see, is this something we can get behind? Some people say, no, there's no way we can get behind this. Other people say, yes, this is a good start. So we'll see what happens. But if this were to pass, this would most likely pass at the very end of September, so probably in about 2 weeks. If this does pass, we should see the second stimulus check within about 7 to 10 days, so anywhere between October 7th and October 10th. So let's just hope and pray this does work. So alright guys, that's all I got for you today. Hopefully you enjoyed this stimulus check update, second stimulus check update, possibly third stimulus check update. But if you have any questions, let me know down in the comment section below. Thank you again for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead, smash that thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I'll see you guys on the next one.